Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today continuing my, adventures with color on the fourth drawing on this specific sketchbook that I have, which I'm still trying to find a binder or some sleeves that I can actually use in order to store whatever I'm creating here. Unfortunately, I'm unable to, and I have to carry them like this for a while. I've been looking for some binders, and it looks the only one that actually will fit will be something like 6 by 9, which another thing I never knew they existed. Apparently, they are sleeve for Broadway events. I don't know what that is. I've seen them on Amazon and I was quite intrigued by them, but the prices for them are actually quite expensive. A binder with some sleeves, I forgot how many, it was like 50 Canadian dollars. Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. Anyway, going back to what I'm doing here, as I mentioned last week, today I will be using the Sepia ink from Bombay, or better said, Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay Sepia. You see me here basically shaking the bottle pretty vigorously. There is a lot of debris debris maybe is not the actual word. The pigment, I guess, deposits at the bottom over time, and in order to make sure you get it mixed very well in there, you actually have to shake the bottle pretty harsh, and eventually gets mixed. Unfortunately, in the process you also create a lot of bubbles, which doesn't seem to affect it that much. It's just when I tilted the bottle in the inkwell holder, it felt like, or better said, I was afraid it might spill ink, but actually nothing really happened. It's like the bubbles hold the ink in there, or, well, not really. It's just that when it's in bubble form, it is not as if, how would you call it? Fluid. It's not as fluid. Fun to work with this ink. You can definitely tell it is an India ink because now it feels that it's a little bit more tacky and it gets drier or tackier a little bit faster with the nib, so I have to dip a little bit more often, and from time to time I had to wipe the nib on a piece of paper towel in order to break some of that dried ink. I guess that's what you get when you're working with India ink that is based on shellac, which another thing that I do find slightly annoying with these inks. They do tend to be a little bit shiny once they dry because of that shellac portion of it. I'll still gonna try and see if I can find an India ink or a permanent ink that will be a little bit more flat or a little bit more matte, so I don't get that shininess. It's not as bad, it's just in certain angles that you get that shyness, but once you get it, personally, I find it a little bit distracting. It's almost like you're trying to print a high quality photo on a glossy paper photo. It's almost any other angle where the light reflects from it that makes the picture unbearable to look at, because all you get is glare. That's why personally I usually prefer matte paper where you don't get as much glare. As a funny thing, I end up going to Michael's and I actually got 2 more inks from Bombay. They have another brown sepia, so I got that one as well. I also got a blue, which doesn't seem to have the same issue with the pigment depositing at the bottom of the bottle. And they had the 3 more inks that I wanted to get, and probably get it next week. It was the white one. I never tried white. I still have to find some black paper that could work with watercolor and this ink. Well, not watercolor, ink color, I guess. And a purple, And there was something else. Oh yeah, the black. I don't have a black from them. Speaking of black, next week I'll be trying the Rotring drawing ink, the ink that is mostly dedicated for the technical pens. I know it works very well on technical pens and I like the color. Speaking of, I should try some technical pens. I haven't tried them in a while. And I will still use the same dip pen that I'm having right here, just because I want to use the same nib and see how the ink feels with this nib compared with the other inks that I've been using so far. Going back for a second to the Bombay ink, I think I could probably dilute it a little bit with some distilled water. I don't think I will lose the quality of the ink. I mean, it might get just slightly more transparent, I guess, or translucent. And that might actually help me with my drawing style because it will allow me to build up. But what I'm thinking is maybe somehow I will be able to reduce some of that glare and at the same time improve how the ink flows with the nib. The other thing that I want to try, and I'll do it after next week, after I try the Rotring ink, I have another, I think it's a browse nib or something like that. It's a blue nib. I think I used something like this in the past. But on that one, I'm going to try the same spring that I have underneath to help with feeding ink or having like a reservoir under the nib, but with a different magnet, which is a little bit larger. I had a little bit of issues with this one. In order to have the magnet the same length as the spring that I have under the nib, I'm actually stacking two tiny magnets in there. It works, but it feels that it doesn't hold as much ink because the spring gets a little bit too big, and I guess the surface tension between the spring and the magnet is not as good. It works well with thicker inks, obviously, but if I would have to dilute it or use that Rotring ink, most probably it won't hold as much ink in that reservoir. Anyway, something to experiment. I'll update as I go through these things. For my drawing today, not a lot of plans, as you probably see me doing so far. Well, right now I'm probably starting to actually use the inks, the color inks. The only idea that I had for today is that I wanted to use red and orange and combine them. The actual drawing, I really didn't have a plan, and that kind of, I guess, maybe it was not a good idea because I kind of defaulted to my mindset of doing things without thinking, and obviously eventually I end up with some kind of a creature, which I guess is kind of a plant creature, maybe, I don't know. Sitting on one leg, having some wings and some tails, a beak, I guess, probably some kind of a bird, and and now I have this song from Family Guy singing in my head, the bird song. Oh, Jesus, I need to get it out of my head. Anyway, derailed by Family Guy. So, yeah, that was the only plan, was to use the red and the orange. Anything else didn't really matter. In the end, the way the colors combine, I liked it. The only thing that I didn't like as much was the fact that the India ink reflects light is not as matte as I would have liked it. It's too shiny. I'll keep on continuing trying to find an ink that actually works. And again, like I mentioned, I will try and actually dilute it a little bit, see if it helps. One thing that I noticed, and I guess this is something because I never really practiced with and I never really worked, I'm pretty bad with using brushes. I mean, I kind of use them in the sense that I dab the colors in places. I'm not that much into color combining. I do like to use the colors as they are. Probably if I will ever use, if I will ever use watercolor, I will go with palettes that are having a lot of colors in them. I'm definitely not a primary color guy. Not that I don't know how to combine colors and what am I gonna get if I combine them. I don't have the patience for it. It's like, yeah, just give me the color. I just want to put it in and move on. Personally, I don't find it that nice to stay in there and combine colors, which I have nothing against people that do. I respect that. It's just I don't have the patience, so I just want colors. And that's why I kind of like this idea of trying to use fountain pen inks as a replacement for watercolor, because let's say if I would go somewhere, I could just grab my water brush, maybe 2 fountain pens that I'll use regardless, with some color in it, and then this tiny sketchbook. And the whole bit, I'm sorry, any watercolor palette, no matter how tiny it would be, like once you open it up to use all the colors with the with the water bucket and all the other stuff, it gets to be quite a lot of stuff. With this though, it's just like I can carry everything in one tiny pouch and stays in the tiny pouch, or at least that's my mentality behind it. So, like I was saying, I need to learn how to use the brush. It's like I don't have control over the brush, and the main reason is because with a brush, if I close my eyes, I don't know when the tip of the brush touches the paper. I will start to feel the resistance way past when the brush is bent halfway, but with a nib, you can instantly know and tell where your brush is at. Or your pen is at, because you feel that contact. And even if I would close my eyes, I could still feel the pressure on the paper by the way the nib vibrates or makes the pen vibrate in my hand. So that's something that I need to practice more with. Second, I don't know if these brushes are really for me. The water brushes, I'll try and find like a fountain well or something like that to use regular brushes with, maybe at a later time, I'm not sure. The problem with these ones are, the ones that I had before, they barely put water even after putting a lot of pressure on them. These ones, they feel like they sip water without me doing anything, and that creates a lot of issues when I'm trying to get color from the nib. And the other thing is, I don't think these fountain pens are really good, specifically because of the feeds, that felt feeds that they have. They can control the ink flow very well, but it doesn't work for my purposes. At one point, you saw me using a fountain pen that I used before, and I presented it here on the channel, that had a different orange color, but I used it because it was much easier to get the color from that feed and nib than from these ones. So in the future, eventually I'll probably have different fountain pens, regular feeds, to use for my drawings. Or maybe I'll find some small ink wells that I could put color ink in them and then just use them from there. I don't know. A lot of things to experiment with. And now, as you see the final product, I like the color combination. I like how it turned out. That red kind of turned out to be more of a pink, which I think works with the drawing. Yeah, fun. Obviously, I did the splatters and all that, and I enjoyed it. Anyway, getting towards the end of the video right now. I guess I'll see you next week. Like I said, I will be trying the rotring, same dip pen and same colors, maybe different colors, we'll see, I don't know. But until then, thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you next week. And as usual, I wish you nothing but the best, and a wonderful day or night, whatever you are. Take care. Bye.